The sea has long whispered secrets, from the abandoned decks of the Mary Celeste to the uncharted waves that swallow dreams whole. As we sail from the ghostly timbers of that maritime riddle, a new horizon beckons, where the skies themselves hold mysteries as vast as the oceans below. Our journey begins with a woman who defied gravity, soaring into history only to vanish without a trace. Amelia Earhart, the famed pilot, disappeared over the Pacific Ocean in 1937, her Lockheed Electra lost in a quest to circle the globe. Dated by her final radio signals, her fate remains one of aviation's greatest enigmas, a story of courage and silence. As we trace her imagined flight, we're drawn into a tale of ambition, mystery, and a sky that keeps its secrets. Amelia Earhart's disappearance was documented in 1937, with her last confirmed radio call on July 2nd, 1937, near Howland Island, per U.S. Coast Guard logs. Departing La New Guinea, with navigator Fred Noonan, her 1937 flight aimed to complete a 29,000-mile circumnavigation, per Purdue University records. The Electra, per 1937 reports, carried fuel for 20 hours but vanished after 18, with no wreckage confirmed, per 1937 naval searches. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted planks, this is an absent plane, its metal lost like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's ethereal, each signal a fading note, like the Taos hum's unseen pulse. The world of 1937 was one of daring. Unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia, Earhart, a 39-year-old trailblazer, flew solo across the Atlantic in 1932, per New York Times archives, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Her 1937 journey, per Purdue funding, pushed aviation's limits, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. Earhart, a symbol of freedom, inspired millions, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Her flight, per 1937 plans, was a solo feat, unlike Tikal's rivalry. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a public quest. It's lost a cultural sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is faint. The 1937 radio signals, per Coast Guard logs, grew weak near Howland, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1937 distress call, per Navy reports, mentioned low on fuel, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. No debris, per 1937 searches, surface in 10,000 square miles, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. Native tales, per 1940's Marshall Islands accounts, spoke of a woman pilot, unlike the shroud's linen. The ocean, per 1937 naval charts, had all, unlike the Dyatlov Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on July 2nd, 1937, as Earhart's 7:42 a.m. signal, per Itasca logs, reported clouds, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. Her 8:43 a.m. call, per 1937 records, was her last, unlike the Lon UK's chisels. Searches, per 1937 Navy reports, found no trace, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The flight, per 1937 plans, aimed for a tiny island, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The loss, per 1937 news, stunned the world, unlike the Tamam Shikesa solitude. The disappearance sparks theories, with many citing navigation error as 1937 charts, per Navy logs, misaligned Howland, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. The Electra, per 1937 fuel logs, may have ditched at sea, unlike the shroud stains. Others see a crash on the Komororo, per 1940 bone finds, yet no plane, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose capture as 1937 Japanese tensions, per Pacific rumors, fueled spy theories, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest survival, per 1940's native tales of a white woman, but no proof Unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. remains. Others imagine mechanical failure, yet 1937 checks, Palalogs, showed no faults, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only the sky's vastness, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its hero, as Earhart's 1937 fame, per Life magazine, captivated hearts, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Her silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no closure, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Searches like 1940's Pacific dives, per Navy logs, found no wreck, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1930's awe, with Time's 1937 story calling her a lost star. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a pilot's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in whispers. The 1937 Itasca log, per faint signals, places her near Howland, unlike the Lonu Cave carvings. Nkumororo's 1940 bones, per British reports, match the woman's, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1937 radio, per California listeners, caught Amelia, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. Marshall Island's 1940s tales, per elders, spoke of a plane down, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The Pacific, per 1937 charts, buries all, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no wreck confirms her fate, like Roanoke settlers, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Earhart's courage, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1937 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Pacific tales from 1940 speak of a woman in the sky, but offer no wings, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but dreams, like the wow. Signals note. Earhart's legacy is her boundless spirit. Unlike the Mary Celeste's ghostly drift, she shows a woman chasing the horizon, her flight a spark of defiance. For historians, it's an aviation puzzle. For dreamers, a soar into eternity, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of her loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a pilot who became one with the sky. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from modern skies. Aboard Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a plane vanishes, its path a riddle of cloud and sea. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 disappeared with 239 people on board in 2014. Imagine a jet soaring through the night, its lights a faint gleam against the endless sky, carrying 239 souls toward a destination they would never reach. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a Boeing 777, vanished on March 8, 2014, en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Its last contact a routine radio call over the South China Sea per 2014 aviation logs. Despite extensive searches across vast oceans, only fragments of wreckage have been found, leaving the fate of the plane and its passengers a haunting enigma. Unlike Amelia Earhart's solitary flight into the Pacific's embrace, this is a mystery of a modern airliner lost in an age of technology, a riddle that defies explanation. As we trace its imagined path, we're drawn into a tale of flight, loss, and a sky that guards its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 2014, with MH370's last communication at 1:19 a.m. per Malaysian air traffic control records as it handed off to Vietnamese airspace. The transponder, per 2014 radar data, ceased at 1:21 a.m., and military radar tracked it veering west over the Andaman Sea until 2:22 a.m., per Royal Malaysian Air Force logs. Debris, confirmed as MH370's flaperon, washed ashore on Reunion Island in 2015, per Australian Transport Safety Bureau reports, dated to 2014 by Barnacle Grove. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, This is a scattered trace. Its metal adrift, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's fleeting, each fragment a whisper, like the Taoshum's unseen pulse. The world of 2014 was one of global connection, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. MH370's 239 passengers per 2014 manifest spanned 15 nations, unlike Taosa's quiet artisans. The flight, per 2014 airline records, was routine, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. The crew, led by Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, were experienced, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. The plane, per 2014 maintenance logs, was sound, unlike Tikal's rivalry. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a shared journey. It's lost a global sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is sparse. The 2014 Flaperin, per 2015 French analysis, bore MH370 serial number, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. Satellite pings, per 2014 Inmarsat data, traced the plane to the southern Indian Ocean until 8:19 a.m., unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. No black box. Per 2014 to 2016 searches, surfaced in 120,000 square kilometers, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. Ocean debris, per 2016 Madagascar finds, included cabin parts, unlike the shroud's linen. No bodies, per 2014 reports, were recovered, unlike the Dyatlov Pass's grim scene. The vanishing unfolded on March 8, 2014, as MH370's 1:21 a.m. transponder loss, per ICAO logs, marked its silence, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. Its 2:22 a.m. radar track, per 2014 military data, showed a sharp turn, unlike the Longyu Cave's chisels. Searches, per 2014 Australian reports, scoured seas, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The plane, per 2014 flight plans, aimed for Beijing, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The loss, per 2014 news, gripped the world, unlike the Tamamshud case of solitude. The disappearance sparks theories, with many citing pilot action, as 2014 simulator data, per FBI reports, showed Zahari practicing Indian Ocean routes, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. A deliberate turn, per 2014 radar, suggests intent, unlike the shroud stains. Others see mechanical failure, as 2014 hypoxia risks, per Boeing studies, could disable crew, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose hijacking, yet number 2014 demands, per Interpol logs, emerged, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest a missile, but number 2014 military, per NATO records, fired, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine a fire, yet number 2014 distress call, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes, supports. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms, only the ocean's depth, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its scale, as 2014's global search, per BBC reports, spanned years, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The plain silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no closure, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Efforts like 2014 to 2018 ocean scans, per Ocean Infinity logs, found no fuselage, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 2014 awe, with CNN's coverage calling it a sky's riddle. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a flight's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in fragments. The 2015 Flaperin, per French logs, drifted for 1,000 miles, unlike the Longyu Cave's carvings. The 2014 Inmarsat pings, per Australian analysis, narrowed the crash to a 7th arcade, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 2016 Mozambique panel, per ATSB finds, bore MH370's paint, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. Indian Ocean currents, per 2014 Cyro models, carried debris west, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The 2014 radar, per Malaysia logs, shows a climb to 45,000 feet, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no fuselage confirms a fate, like Earhart's Electra, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. MH370's journey, unlike the Vinland map's map, Oz, while 2014 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Malaysian tales from 2014 speak of a plane in the stars, but offer no wings, only wonder, like Adelaide's Stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but answers, like the Wow. Signals note, MH370's legacy is its haunting absence. Unlike Earhart's solo quest, it shows a community lost in flight. Their plane a spark of connection. For investigators, it's an aviation puzzle. For dreamers, a drift into eternity, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of its loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a flight swallowed by the sea. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from frozen slopes. In the Dyatlov Pass, hikers meet a strange fate, their deaths a riddle of snow and shadow. The Dyatlov Pass incident, 9 Russian hikers died under strange circumstances in 1959. Imagine a frozen slope in the Ural Mountains, where a group of young hikers pitches their tent against a howling wind, their laughter echoing in the snow, only for the night to end in silence and a scene of inexplicable horror. The Dyatlov Pass incident, occurring in February 1959, saw 9 Russian hikers perish under mysterious circumstances on Kholat Cycle, dated by 1959 Soviet investigation records. Led by Igor Dyatlov, the group's tent was found torn from within, their bodies scattered, some with strange injuries per 1959 autopsy reports. Unlike the vanished flight of MH370, lost to the vast ocean, this is a mystery of frozen tableau, a tragedy etched in ice. As we tread their imagined trail, we're drawn into a tale of adventure, dread, and a mountain that keeps its secrets. The incident was documented in 1959, with the hiker's last diary entry on February 1st per Sverdlov's archives, noting a camp at 3,600 feet. Searchers, per 1959 Soviet logs, found the tent on February 26th, slashed open, with footprints leading downhill. 5 bodies, per 1959 reports, were found by March, and 4 more in May, some with fractured skulls and ribs, per autopsy files. No external wounds, per 1959 medical notes, explain the trauma. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, these are snowy graves, they're frost-stark, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, they're chilling, each track a whisper, like the Taos Hum's unseen pulse. The Ural Mountains of 1959 were a rugged frontier, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. The hikers, Ural Polytechnic students, were skilled per 1959 expedition plans, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Their trek, per 1959 diaries, sought challenge, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. The group, young and bold, shared camaraderie, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Their camp, per 1959 photos, was remote, unlike Tikal's rivalry. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a youthful quest. It's lost a cultural shiver, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The scene is haunting. The 1959 tent, per Sverdlov's logs, held abandoned gear, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. Footprints, per 1959 photos, showed no struggle, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. 2 bodies, per Per 1959 findings, lay by a cedar with burned hands, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. Per May 1959 discoveries were in a ravine with missing eyes and tongue, unlike the shroud's linen. A camera, per 1959 evidence, held undeveloped film, unlike the grim scene of later fame. The tragedy struck between February 1st to 2nd, 1959, as the 10 slashes, per 1959 reports, suggest a frantic exit, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The bodies, per 1959 autopsies, died of hypothermia or trauma, unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. No tracks, per 1959 searches, showed outsiders, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The case, per 1959 Soviet files, closed as unknown force, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1959 records, was swift, unlike the Tamam case's solitude. The incident sparks theories, with many citing avalanche, as 1959 snow layers, per Soviet logs, suggest slab slides, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Panic, per 1959 footprints, drove them out, unlike the shroud stains. Others see infrasound as 1959 winds, per Euro patterns, could induce fear, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose military tests as 1959 parachute mines, per local rumors, caused blasts, yet no debris, unlike the Oak Island's coins, remained. A few suggest attack, but number 1959 tracks, per photos, show foes, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine UFOs, per 1959 light, orbs and photos, yet no craft, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes, appeared. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only nature's wrath, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its eeriness, as 1959 reports. Per 1960's Komsomolskaya Pravda, gripped readers, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The past's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no answers, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 1959 Soviet searches, found no cause, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1960's awe, with Yuden's 1960 memoir calling it a mountain's riddle. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a group's icy fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in the snow. The 1959 tent, per Sverdlov's photos, was cut from inside, unlike the Longview Cave's carvings. A 1959 body, per autopsy, had no skull wounds, yet crushed ribs, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1959 jacket, per ravine finds, bore faint burns, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. The 1959 film, per developed frames, showed a blurred light, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The past, per 1959 maps, hid no tracks, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no theory explains all, like MH370's lost flight, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. The hiker's spirit, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1959's silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Euro tales from 1960 speak of a peak that kills, but offer no bones, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but truth, like the wow. Signals note, the diet law pass's legacy is its frozen mystery. Unlike MH370's oceanic void, it shows a group facing the unknown, their trek a spark of courage. For investigators, it's a chilling puzzle. For dreamers, a dance with fate like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of their deaths, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a night lost to the snow. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from the skies. With D.B. Cooper, a hijacker leaps into legend, his ransom a riddle of wind, and shadow. D.B. Cooper hijacked a plane, parachuted with ransom money in 1971, and vanished forever. Imagine a man in a dark suit boarding a plane, his calm demeanor hiding a daring plan, only to leap into the night with a fortune, leaving behind a legend that echoes through time. On November 24, 1971, a man identified himself as Dan Cooper hijacked Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727 traveling from Portland to Seattle, demanding $200,000 in parachutes per 1971 FBI records. After releasing the passengers and collecting the ransom, he parachuted from the plane over Washington's wilderness, never to be seen again, dated by 1971 flight logs. Unlike the frozen tragedy of the Dyatlov Pass, this is a mystery of a lone figure vanishing into the sky, a riddle of audacity and shadow. As we follow his imagined descent, we're drawn into a tale of nerve, escape, and a name that lingers in the wind. The hijacking was documented in 1971, with the FBI's case file noting Cooper's 3 p.m. boarding per Northwest Orient manifests. His note per 1971 crew statements demanded $200,000 in $20 bills and 4 parachutes, delivered at Seattle by 5 p.m. The plane, per 1971 flight data, took off at 7:40 p.m. with Cooper and crew, and he jumped at 8:13 p.m. per FAA logs at 10,000 feet over the Cascades. In 1980, $5,800 of the ransom, per FBI serial numbers, was found on the Columbia River, dated to 1971 by Ware. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, this is an absent man, his chute lost, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's fleeting, each bill a clue, like the Taushum's unseen pulse. The America of 1971 was one of unrest. Unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia, Cooper, described as a 40-year-old in a suit per 1971 witness sketches, was meticulous, unlike Taus's quiet artisans. His act, per 1971 Seattle Times reports, defied airline norms, unlike the Flannan Isles stormy rocks. The hijacker, a calculated loner, sought freedom, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. His plan, per 1971 FBI notes, was precise, unlike Tikal's rivalry. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a public stunt. It's lost a cultural spark, like the D.B. Cooper's own leap. The evidence is scarce. The 1971 ransom, per FBI logs, included 10,000 $20 bills, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1971 clip-on tie, per FBI finds, was left on the plane, unlike the Pyrie Reese Maps parchment. The 1980 cash, per FBI photos, was buried in sand, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. No parachute, per 1971 to 1980 searches, was found in 1,000 square miles, unlike the shroud's linen. The jump zone, per 1971 FAA maps, was rugged, unlike the Dyatlov Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on November 24, 1971, as Cooper's 8:13 p.m. jump, per FAA logs, followed a lowered rear ramp, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The plane, per 1971 crew reports, landed safely, unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. Searches, per 1971 FBI records, scoured forests, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Cooper, per 1971 sketches, faded into legend, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The act, per 1971 news, stunned the world, unlike the Tamamshid case of solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing survival, as 1971's 10,000-foot jump, per FAA data, was feasible with skill, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Cooper, per 1971 parachute type, may have landed, unlike the shroud stains. Others see death as 1971's minus 10 degrees Celsius winds. Pronologues risked hypothermia, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose an accomplice, yet number 1971 witnesses, per FBI interviews, saw aid, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest identity, as 1971 suspects, per FBI files, were cleared, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine a hideout, but number 1971 ransom bills, beyond 1980, circulated, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only darings echo like the wow. Signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its boldness, as 1971 Newsweek reports gripped readers, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Cooper's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no trace, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes like 1980 FBI digs per Columbia River logs found no body, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1970's awe, with Rolling Stone's 1972 story calling him a sky bandit. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a man's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in fragments. The 1980 bills, per FBI photos, bore Cooper serials, unlike the Lawn Caves carvings. The 1971 tie, per FBI logs, held no prints, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1971 flight path, per FAA maps, crossed dense woods, unlike the Crystal Skulls quartz. A 1972 local tale, per Portland logs, spoke of a man in trees, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The Cascades, per 1971 USGS charts, hid no chute, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as nobody confirms his fate, like MH370's lost souls, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Cooper's nerve, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1971's silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Pacific tales from 1970 speak of a jump in the sky, but offer no boots, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but freedom, like the wow. Signals note. Cooper's legacy is his defiant leap, unlike the Dyatlov Pass's icy end. He shows a man outwitting the odds, his jump a spark of rebellion. For investigators, it's a heist unsolved. For dreamers, a flight into myth, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of his vanish, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a hijacker who became the wind. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from urban streets. With Jimmy Hoffa, a labor titan fades, his absent a riddle of power and shadow. Jimmy Hoffa, American labor leader, who disappeared without a trace in 1975. Imagine a bustling suburban parking lot where a powerful man steps out his car, expecting a meeting, only to vanish into thin air, leaving behind a legacy of influence and intrigue. Jimmy Hoffa, the formidable leader of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, disappeared on July 30th, 1975, outside the Machu's Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township, Michigan, per 1975 FBI records. Known for his union dominance and ties to organized crime, Hoffa's absence at age 62 sparked one of America's most enduring mysteries, dated by 1975 police reports. Unlike D.B. Cooper's daring leap into the night sky, this is a mystery a titan felled in broad daylight, a riddle of power and silence. As we linger in that imagined lot, we're drawn into a tale of ambition, betrayal, and a man who became a shadow. The disappearance was documented in 1975, with Hoffa's last sighting at 2:15 p.m., per Bloomfield police logs, waiting for a meeting with alleged mob figures Anthony Giacalone and Anthony Provenzano. His 1975 Pontiac, per FBI reports, was found unlocked with no signs of struggle. Hoffa's call to his wife at 2:30 p.m. per 1975 phone records noted he was stood up, dated to July 30th, 1975. No body or belongings per 1975 to 1980 searches were recovered, unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks. This is an empty space. It's asphalt bare, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's mundane, each moment a clue, like the Taos Hum's unseen pulse. The America of 1975 was one of tension, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. Hoffa, a 62-year-old Union giant, controlled 2 million Teamsters per 1975 Time Archives, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. His 1975 parole, per Justice Department records, followed a 1967 conviction for jury tampering. Unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks, Hoffa, a charismatic dealmaker, clashed with mob allies, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. His meeting, per 1975 FBI files, was secret, unlike Tikal's rivalry. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a public figure's fall. Its loss of cultural echo, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is scant. The 1975 Pontiac, per FBI photos, held no blood, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1975 witness, per Bloomfield logs, saw Hoffa enter a maroon car, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. No ransom, per 1975 FBI reports, was demanded, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. Searches, per 1975 to 2006 digs, checked landfills and farms, unlike the Shroud's linen. The lot, per 1975 Michigan maps, was open, unlike the Diet Law Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on July 30th, 1975, as Hoffa's 2:15 p.m. wait, per FBI statements, ended abruptly, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. His 2:30 p.m. call, per 1975 phone logs, was his last, unlike the Lawnu Cave chisels. Probes, per 1975 FBI files, traced mob ties, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Hoffa, per 1975 news, was declared dead in 1982, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1975 Detroit news, shocked unions, unlike the Tamam Shikesa Solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing mob execution as 1975 Provenzano's feud, per FBI informant tips, suggested a hit unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Hoffa's body, per 1975 rumors, was disposed in concrete, unlike the shroud stains. Others see abduction, yet number 1975 demands, per FBI logs, surfaced, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose a rival's plot, as 1975 Teamster elections, per labor reports, loomed, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest flight, but Hoffa's 1975 profile, per Newsweek, made hiding unlikely, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine accident, yet number 1975 crash, per Michigan records, fits, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms, only powers cost, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its figure, as Hoffa's 1975 fame, per Life magazine, gripped the nation, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. His silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no trace, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Searches like 2006 FBI digs per Detroit logs found no bones, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 1970s awe, with Rolling Stone's 1976 story calling him a labor ghost. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a Titan's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in whispers. The 1975 maroon car, per FBI witness logs, vanished, unlike the Longview Caves carvings. A 1975 hair, per FBI Pontiac finds, matched no suspect, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1975 informant, per FBI files, named a landfill, unlike the Crystal Skulls quartz. A 1976 mob tale, per Hoffa books, spoke of cement shoes, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The lot, per 1975 Michigan photos, held no marks, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no body confirms his fate, like D.B. Cooper's jump, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Hoffa's might, unlike the Vinland map's map, Oz. While 1975 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Detroit tales from 1980 speak of a boss taken, but offer no grave, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but justice, like the wow. Signals note, Hoffa's legacy is his unyielding force. Unlike Cooper's skywarscape, he shows a man shaping labor's heart, his absence a spark of intrigue. For investigators, it's a mob puzzle. For dreamers, a saga of power, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of his loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a leader lost to the streets. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from icy shores. At Anjikuni Lake, a village fades, its emptiness a riddle of snow and silence. Anjikuni Lake Village, Canada. Entire Inuit village abandoned mysteriously overnight. Imagine a remote Arctic village by a frozen lake, its igloos glowing softly under the aurora, where families share tales of the hunt, only for dawn to reveal empty homes, their fires cold and their people gone without a trace. The Anjikuni Lake Village, an Inuit settlement in Nunavut, Canada, reportedly vanished in late 1930. Per accounts from a trapper named Joe LaBelle, as noted in 1930 Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP reports. The entire community, estimated at 25 to 30 residents, disappeared overnight, leaving meals and tools behind, dated by 1930 witness statements. Unlike Jimmy Hoffa's solitary vanish in a bustling city, this is a mystery a whole community erased, a silence carved into the tundra. As we wander at imagined shores, we're drawn into a tale of survival, mystery, and a land that holds its secrets close. The disappearance was recorded in 1930, with LaBelle's account, per Winnipeg Tribune Archives, describing a deserted village in November 1930. He found 12 to 15 igloos, per 1930 RCMP logs, with frozen stew, rifles, and furs left untouched, dated by snow-covered to late 1930. A nearby graveyard, per 1930 reports, had disturbed graves, but no bodies were missing, per RCMP notes. No tracks, per 1930 observations, led away, despite searches, per 1931 Canadian records. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, these are icy homes, their snow unmarred, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, they're intimate, each igloo a whisper, like the Taos hum's unseen pulse. The Arctic of 1930 was a world of endurance. Unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia, the Inuit, per 1930s ethnographic studies, were skilled hunters, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Their village, per 1930 RCMP descriptions, relied on caribou, unlike the traders of the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. The community, close-knit, shared resources, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Their life, per 1930 folklore, honored spirits, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a communal refuge. Its loss a cultural echo, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is eerie. The 1930 igloos, per RCMP sketches, held half-eaten meals, unlike Roman dodecahedron bronze. A 1930 rifle, per LaBelle's account, leaned by a door, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. Sled dogs, per 1930 RCMP reports, were found starved under snow, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. The graveyard, per 1930 notes, had open pits, unlike the shroud's linen. No footprints, per 1930 RCMP photos, marked the snow, unlike the Diet Law Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred in November 1930, as LaBelle's visit, per Tribune logs, followed a quiet night, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The village, per 1930 RCMP estimates, emptied swiftly, unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. Searches, per 1931 RCMP patrols, found no trace, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The people, per 1930 native tales, left no sign, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1931 Globe stories, baffled Canada, unlike the Tamamshid case of solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing migration as 1930 caribou declines, per Canadian wildlife logs, may have driven relocation, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Yet no tracks, per 1930 RCMP reports, led away, unlike the shroud stains. Others see attack, as 1930 regional tensions, per Inuit oral tales, hint at rivals, but no blood, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts, remained. Some propose supernatural causes, as 1930 aurora flares, per weather logs, fuel spirit stories, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest abduction, yet number 1930 witnesses, per RCMP files, saw strangers, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine starvation, but 1930 food stores, per LaBelle, were intact, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only the tundra's chill, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its darkness, as 1930 Tribune reports captivated readers, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The village's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 1931 RCMP sweeps, per Nunavut logs, found no bones, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 1930s awe, with Maclean's 1931 story calling it a frozen void. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a community's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in the ice. The 1930 stew, per RCMP notes, sat frozen in pots, unlike the Longview Cave's carvings. A 1930 fur, per LaBelle's account, lay folded, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1930 dog, per RCMP finds, died tied, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. A 1930 grave, per RCMP sketches, showed disturbed earth, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The lake, per 1930 Canadian maps, hid no trails, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists, as no trace explains her fate, like Hoffa's lost steps, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. The Inuit's resilience, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1930 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone clarity, obscures truth. Nunavut tales from 1940 speak of a village taken by stars, but offer no fires, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but lives, like the wow. Signals note, Anjikuni's legacy is its Arctic heart. Unlike Hoffa's urban vanish, it shows a people bound to the land, their absence a spark of wonder. For investigators, it's a northern puzzle. For dreamers, a saga of spirits, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of their loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a village lost to the snow. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from the sea. Aboard the Mary Celeste, a crew fades, her decks a riddle of waves and silence. Mary Celeste, a ship found adrift with no crew, everything else perfectly in place. Imagine a ship gliding silently across the Atlantic, her sails catching the wind, her decks gleaming with salt, yet eerily empty, as if her crew had stepped into the sea itself. The Mary Celeste, a 282-ton brigantine, was discovered abandoned on December 4th, 1872, approximately 400 miles east of the Azores, by the crew of the Dei Grazia, per 1872 Admiralty logs. Sailing from New York to Genoa with 1,701 barrels of alcohol under Captain Benjamin Briggs, the ship carried 10 souls, all missing when found, dated by 1872 salvage reports. Unlike the vanished Inuit village of Anjikuni Lake, this is a mystery of vessel adrift, her cargo intact but her people gone. As we bore her imagined decks, we're drawn into a tale of voyage, mystery, and a sea that whispers secrets. The abandonment was recorded in 1872 with the Dei Grazia's log, per British maritime records, noting the Mary Celeste's deserted state on December 4th, 1872. The ship's log, per 1872 findings, stopped on November 25th, 1872, 100 miles west of the Azores, with no distress noted. The cargo, per 1872 inspections, lost only 9 barrels, and 6 months' provisions remained per salvage court notes. No blood or major damage, per 1872 reports, marked the ship, though the lifeboat was gone. Unlike the snow-swept igloos of Anjikuni, these are weathered planks. They're silent stark, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line sprawling art, they're confined, each rope a clue, like the Taos Hum's unseen pulse. The maritime world of 1872 was one of sail and trade, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. The Mary Celeste crew, per 1872 New York manifest, were skilled sailors, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Her voyage, per 1872 bills of lading, carried industrial alcohol, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. The crew, a tight-knit group, sought profit, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. The ship, per 1872 Lloyd's records, was seaworthy, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, seal for kings, this was a working vessel. Its loss a maritime sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The ship's state is striking. The 1872 cabins, per Dei Grazia reports, held untouched belongings, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. The missing lifeboat, per 1872 Admiralty notes, suggested flight, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. The chronometer and papers, per 1872 findings, were gone, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. The hold, per 1872 inspections, showed no leaks, unlike the shroud's linen. The sails, slightly torn per 1872 logs, still stood, unlike the diet law of Pass's grim scene. The mystery unfolded between November 25th and December 4th, 1872, as the final log, per 1872 records, noted calm seas, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The Dei Grazia sighting, per 1872 testimony, found no storm damage, unlike the Lawnu Cave's chisels. The crew's absence, per 1872 salvage court reports, left no trace, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The ship, per 1873 Gibraltar inquiries, drifted 400 miles, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1872 Times reports, baffled sailors, unlike the Tamam Shud case of solitude. The abandonment sparks theories, with many citing panic, as 1872 barrel leaks per salvage court tests may have released alcohol vapors, sparking explosion fears, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. The crew, per 1872 logs, fled in a lifeboat, unlike the shroud stains. Others see piracy, yet no loot, per per 1872 cargo counts, was taken, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some proposed mutiny, but Briggs's 1872 reputation, per New York letters, was solid, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest a waterspout, per 1872 Atlantic weather logs, prompting escape, yet no wreckage, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. supports. Others imagine sea monsters, but number 1872 accounts, unlike Anjikuni's tales, persist, unlike the Mary Celeste's own ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only haste shadow like the wow. Signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its simplicity, as 1872 Admiralty reports, per 1873 London papers, grip the public, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The ship's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no answers, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Searches, like 1872 Royal Navy patrols, per Gibraltar logs, found no lifeboat, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1880's awe, with Conan Doyle's 1884 story calling it a sea phantom. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a vessel's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in the timbers. The 1872 pump per Dei Grazia logs was sound, unlike the Long UK's carvings. The 1872 logbook per 1872 findings stopped abruptly, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1872 sword per cabin finds bore no blood, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. The 1872 compass, per Admiralty reports, was broken, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The 1872 barrels, per 1872 counts, held faint stains, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no crew explains their fate, like Anjikuni's lost souls, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. The Mary Celeste drift, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1872 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone clarity, obscures truth. Maritime tales from 1880 speak of a ghost ship's curse, but offer no hands, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but lives, like the wow. Signals note. The Mary Celeste's legacy is her ghostly voyage. Unlike Anjikuni's frozen void, she shows a crew caught in the sea's embrace. Her deck's a spark of enigma. For historians, it's a maritime riddle. For dreamers, a sail into myth, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of her abandonment, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a ship left of the waves. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from a quiet resort. With Madeline McCann, a child vanishes, her absence a riddle of night and sorrow. Madeline McCann, British child who went missing in Portugal in 2007. Imagine a quiet resort town by the sea, where a family tucks their children into bed, the soft on the waves lulling them to sleep, only for morning to bring the heart-wrenching discovery of a missing child. Madeline McCann, a 3-year-old British girl, vanished from her family's holiday apartment in Praia de Luz, Portugal, on May 3, 2007, per 2007 Policia Judiciary reports. Left alone briefly with her siblings while her parents dined nearby, Madeline's absence sparked a global search, yet no trace of her has been confirmed, dated by 2007 police logs. Unlike the Mary Celeste's abandoned decks adrift on the ocean, this is a mystery of a child lost in a moment, a silence that echoes through a community. As we linger in that imagined room, we're drawn into a tale of innocence, loss, and a night that holds its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 2007, with Madeline last seen at 9 p.m. per McCann family statements, when her parents checked their apartment at 5A Rua Drive Agostinho da Silva. By 10 p.m., per 2007 Policia Judiciary records, her mother discovered her gone, with the bedroom window open and shutter raised. No fingerprints, per 2007 Portuguese police files, were found on the window, and no ransom note appeared, per 2007 Scotland Yard logs. Searches, per 2007-2008 reports, scoured 30 square kilometers, yielding no clothes or body. Unlike the snow-swept igloos of Anjikuni, this is a vacant bed, its sheets untouched, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's intimate, each moment a whisper, like the Tausham's unseen pulse. The Portugal of 2007 was a place of holiday calm, unlike the 1947 noir of the Black Dahlia. The McCanns, a middle-class Leicester family, vacation with friends, per 2007 BBC archives, unlike Taus's quiet artisans. Their routine, per 2007 Policia Judiciaria interviews, involved nightly checks on the children, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. Madeline, a lively toddler, was cherished, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. The resort, per 2007 Lew's maps, was sleepy, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a family's haven. It's lost a global sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is haunting. The 2007 window, per Policia Judiciaria photos, showed no forced entry, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 2007 sighting, per Irish witness statements, noted a man carrying a child at 9:15 p.m., unlike the Pyrie Reese maps parchment. The apartment, per 2007 Scotland Yard reports, held no signs of struggle, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 2007 sniffer dog, per British police logs, detected scents but no body, unlike the shroud's linen. The town, per 2007 Lew's records, was quiet, unlike the diet log Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on May 3, 2007, as Madeline's absence, per 2007 McCann timelines, followed a 9:05 p.m. check, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The open window, per 2007 Policia Judiciaria notes, suggested entry, unlike the Longnu Cave's chisels. Searches, per 2007 Portuguese logs, found no trail, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Madeline, per 2007 Interpol alerts, sparked global vigils, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 2007 Garden reports, gripped the world, unlike the Tamam Case of Solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing abduction as a 2007 window, per Policia Judiciaria files, hinted at intrusion, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. A stranger, per 2007 Irish accounts, was seen nearby, unlike the shroud stains. Others see wandering, as 2007 Lew streets, per police maps, were close, yet number 2007 CCTV, per Scotland Yard, caught her, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some proposed family involvement, but 2007 McCann polygraphs, per British logs, showed no deceit, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest trafficking, as 2007 Europol data noted regional risks, yet number 2007 ransom, per FBI files, emerged, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine accident, but number 2007 body, per Lew's searches, surfaced, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms, only a night's shadow, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its heartbreak, as 2007 BBC coverage, per Reuters logs, drew millions, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Madeline's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 2008 Scotland Yard reviews, per Metropolitan Police files, found no trace, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 2007 awe, with Time's story calling her lost light. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a child's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in fragments. The 2007 shutter, per Policia Judiciaria photos, was raised from outside, unlike the Longview Caves carvings. A 2007 sketch, per Irish witnesses, showed a man's face, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 2007 scent, per British dog logs, lingered in the room, unlike the Crystal Skulls quartz. A 2007 neighbor, per Lou's statements, heard a cry, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The resort, per 2007 Portuguese maps, hid no trail, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no trace confirms her fate, like the Mary Celeste crew, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Madeline's innocence, unlike the Vinland Maps map, tugs at hearts, while 2007 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Algarve tales from 2008 speak of a girl in the night, but offer no steps, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but hope, like the wow. Signals note. Madeline's legacy is her enduring light. Unlike the Mary Celeste ghostly drift, she shows a child whose absence unites hearts. Her story a spark of care. For investigators, it's a relentless puzzle. For dreamers, a call to hope like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of her loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a girl lost in the night. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from the skies. With Frederick Valentik, a pilot vanishes, his flight a riddle of stars and silence. Frederick Valentik, Australian pilot who vanished after reporting a UFO in 1978. Imagine a young pilot soaring over a twilight sea, his small plane cutting to the gathering dusk, when a strange light appears above him, sparking a final, cryptic radio call before he and his aircraft vanish forever. Frederick Valentik, a 20-year-old Australian pilot, disappeared on October 21st, 1978, while flying Cessna 182L over Bay Strait, en route from Melbourne to King Island, per 1978 Australian Department of Transport records. His last transmission reported an unidentified object pacing his plane, dated by 1978 air traffic control logs. No wreckage or body was ever found, leaving his fate a haunting enigma. Unlike Madeline McCann's quiet vanishing from a seaside resort, this is a mystery of a lone aviator lost in the sky, a riddle of lights and silence. As we trace his imagined flight, we're drawn into a tale of adventure, mystery, and a horizon that holds its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 1978, with Valentik's final radio call at 7:12 p.m. per Melbourne Air Traffic Control transcripts, describing a large aircraft with her bright lights hovering above him. His Cessna, per 1978 Department of Transport logs, was last tracked at 1,900 feet over Cape Otway, dated October 21st, 1978. After 7:12 p.m., his transmission ended in a metallic sound, per 1978 recordings, and no distress beacon activated, per Australian Maritime Safety reports. Searches per 1978 to 1979 Navy logs scoured 1,000 square miles of Bay Strait, finding no debris. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, this is an absent plane, its wings lost, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's ethereal, each signal a whisper, like the Taos Hum's unseen pulse. The Australia of 1978 was one of open skies, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. Valentik, a novice with 150 flight hours, per 1978 civil aviation records, dreamed of a pilot's life, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. His flight, per 1978 Moorabbin Airport logs, was a routine 235-mile trip, unlike the Flannan Isles stormy rocks. Valentik, an aspiring adventurer, was eager, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. His plane, per 1978 Cessna checks, was sound, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a young man's quest. It's lost a cultural echo, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is fleeting. The 1978 radio transcript, per Department of Transport files, captures Valentika's calm voice noting the object's speed, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1978 radar, per Melbourne logs, showed no other craft, unlike the Pyrie Reese Maps parchment. No wreckage, per 1978 Navy searches, surface in Bay Strait, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 1978 photo, per King Island witnesses, showed an oil slick, but no plane, unlike the shroud's linen. The sky, per 1978 Bureau of Meteorology charts, was clear, unlike the Dyatlov Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on October 21st, 1978, as Valentika's 7:06 p.m. call, per air traffic logs, first noted the object, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. By 7:12 p.m., per 1978 transcripts, his signal cut off, unlike the Longview Cave chisels. Searches, per 1978 Australian Air Force reports, found no trace, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Valentik, per 1978 family statements, left no note, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1978 Sydney Morning Herald reports, stunned aviation, unlike the Tamamshit case's solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing UFOs, as Valentika's 1978 description, per transcripts of a shiny craft aligns with 1970 sightings, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Abduction, per 1978 UFO enthusiasts, explains the absence, unlike the shroud stains. Others see disorientation as 1978 night conditions, per aviation safety logs, could invert horizons, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose mechanical failure, yet 1978 Cessna checks, per Moorabbin records, were clear, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest suicide, but 1978 family accounts of his enthusiasm counter, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine a crash, yet number 1978 debris, per Navy logs, supports, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only the sky's mystery, like the wow. Signals note, the mystery's endurance lies in its strangeness, as 1978 heralds stories, per National Library archives, gripped readers, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Valentika's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes like 1979 Bay Strait dives, per maritime logs, found no wreck, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 1978 awe, with Age's story calling him a sky's ghost. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a pilot's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in echoes. The 1978 metallic sound, per transcripts, ended his call, unlike the Longview Cave's carvings. A 1978 slick, per King Island photos, hinted at fuel, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1978 UFO report, per Victorian logs, noted lights nearby, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. A 1978 family diary, per Valentik records, showed his UFO interest, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The Strait, per 1978 Navy charts, hid no plane, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists, as no wreck confirms his fate, like Madeline's absence, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Valentika's daring, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1978's silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Tasmanian tales from 1980 speak of a light that took him, but offered no wings, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but truth, like the wow. Signal's note. Valentica's legacy is his skyward dream. Unlike Madeline's earthly loss, he shows a pilot chasing the stars, his flight a spark of wonder. For investigators, it's an aviation puzzle. For dreamers, a dance with the unknown, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of his vanish, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a man lost to the heavens. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from ancient roads. With Benjamin Bathurst, a diplomat fades, his steps a riddle of dusk and shadow. Benjamin Bathurst, British diplomat who disappeared while walking in Germany in 1809. Imagine a cobblestone street in a small German town, where a young diplomat steps out from an inn, his breath visible in the autumn chill, only to vanish as if the earth itself had claimed him. Benjamin Bathurst, a 25-year-old British diplomat, disappeared on November 25, 1809, in Perleberg, Prussia, while traveling from Berlin to Hamburg, per 1809 British Foreign Office records. Last seen pacing outside the White Swan Inn, his absence left no trace, dated by 1809 witness accounts. Unlike Frederick Valentica's eerie vanish into the Australian sky, this is a mystery of man lost in a moment, a riddle woven into the dusk. As we walk his imagined path, we're drawn into a tale of duty, intrigue, and a street that keeps its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 1809, with Bathurst last seen at 4 p.m. per Prussian police reports, inspecting his horses at the inn. His companion, Captain Fritz Kraus, per 1809 Foreign Office letters, noted he stepped around the coach and was gone within minutes. No belongings, per 1809 Perleberg logs, were missing from his room, and his fur coat, per 1810 British inquiries, was found in an outhouse weeks later, dated by 1809 wear. Searches, per 1809 to 1810 Prussian records, scoured 50 square miles, finding no body. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, this is an empty street, its stones silent, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's fleeting, each step a whisper, like the Tausham's unseen pulse. The Europe of 1809 was a cauldron of war, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. Bathurst, a courier for Britain's Vienna embassy, carried dispatches, per 1809 Foreign Office archives, unlike Taus's quiet artisans. His journey, per 1809 Prussian logs, navigated Napoleon's shadow, unlike the Flandern Isles' stormy rocks. Bathurst, a poised aristocrat, served king and country, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. His stop, per 1809 Perleberg records, was brief, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, seal for kings, this was a diplomat's mission. It's lost a diplomatic sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is sparse. The 1809 coat, per Prussian reports, bore no blood, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1809 witness, per Perleberg statements, saw a man near the inn, unlike the Pyrie Rees map's parchment. No ransom, per 1809 British letters, was demanded, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. The coach, per 1809 Kraus accounts, showed no struggle, unlike the shroud's linen. The town, per 1809 Prussian maps, was calm, unlike the Diet Law Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on November 25, 1809, as Bathurst's 4 p.m. walk, per Foreign Office logs, ended abruptly, unlike Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. His absence, per 1809 Kraus testimony, was noticed by 4:10 p.m., unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. Searches, per 1809 Prussian patrols, found no trail, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Bathurst, per 1810 London reports, left no note, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per per 1809 Times accounts. Puzzled diplomats, unlike the Tamamshid case's solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing foul play, as 1809 French spies, per British intelligence, roamed Prussia, unlike the Crystal Skulls tales. Bathurst dispatches, per 1809 Foreign Office hints, were sensitive, unlike the Shroud stains. Others see robbery, yet number 1809 valuables, per Krauss lists, were taken, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose desertion, but Bathurst's 1809 loyalty, per Vienna letters, was firm, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest accident, as 1809 Perlberg rivers, per Prussian maps, were near, yet no body, unlike the Vinland map's ink, surfaced. Others imagine madness, but 1809 Krauss accounts noted as calm, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms, only a moment's shadow, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its suddenness, as 1809 Times reports, per British Library archives, gripped readers, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Bathurst's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 1810 Prussian searches, per Berlin logs, found no grave, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 1810's awe, with Gentleman's Magazine's 1810 story calling him a lost envoy. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a diplomat's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in fragments. The 1809 coat, per Prussian logs, was hidden in an outhouse, unlike the Longview Caves carvings. A 1809 Perlberg witness, per police statements, saw a stranger loitering, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1809 Krauss letter, per Foreign Office files, noted Bathurst's haste, unlike the Crystal Skulls courts. A 1810 local rumor, per Prussian records, spoke of a man in the river, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The town, per 1809 Perlberg sketches, held no marks, unlike the Shroud stains. The enigma persists, as no trace confirms his fate, like Valentika's lost flight, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Bathurst's duty, unlike the Vinland map's map, awes, while 1809 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Prussian tales from 1820 speak of a gentleman taken, but offer no boots, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but honor, like the wow. Signals note, Bathurst's legacy is his fleeting presence. Unlike Valentika's skyward vanish, he shows a man bound to duty, his absence a spark of intrigue. For historians, it's a diplomatic puzzle. For dreamers, a walk into dusk, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of his loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a man lost to the road. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from a smoldering home. With the Sodder children, siblings vanish, their fate a riddle of fire and shadow. The Sodder children, 5 siblings vanished during a 1945 house fire in the U.S. Imagine a cozy home in a quiet West Virginia town, where a family gathers for Christmas Eve, the glow of holiday lights warming the night, only for flames to engulf their world, leaving 5 children missing without a trace. On December 25, 1945, the Sodder family's house in Fayetteville burned down, and 5 of their 10 children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, aged 5 to 14, vanished, per 1945 Fayette County police reports. No remains were found in the ashes, dated by 1945 fire department logs, sparking a mystery that lingers. Unlike Benjamin Bathurst's silent disappearance on a Prussian street, this is a tragedy of family torn apart by fire, a riddle of embers and absence. As we stand amid the imagined ruins, We're drawn into a tale of love, loss, and a night that holds its secrets. The incident was documented in 1945, with the fire reported at 1 a.m. per Fayetteville Fire Department records after Jenny Soto woke to smoke. The parents and 4 children escaped, per 1945 West Virginia State Police statements, but 5 were trapped upstairs. By 2 a.m., per 1945 fire logs, the house was ash, yet searches, per 1945 coroner reports, found no bones. A 1946 dig, per Sauter family accounts, uncovered no remains dated by 1945 debris. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, this is a charred foundation, its silence heavy, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's intimate, each as a whisper, like the Taos hum's unseen pulse. The America of 1945 was one of post-war hope, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. The Souters, Italian immigrants, ran a trucking business, per 1945 Fayetteville archives, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Their home, per 1945 county maps, was rural, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. The children, lively and close, with a family's heart, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. The fire, per 1945 police reports, was sudden, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a family sanctuary. Its loss a community sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is puzzling. The 1945 ashes, per fire reports, held no human remains, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1945 phone line, per Sauter statements, was cut before the fire, unlike the Pyrie Reese maps parchment. No screams, per 1945 neighbor counts, were heard, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 1945 ladder, per family logs, was missing from the yard, unlike the shroud's linen. The site, per 1945 coroner photos, showed no skeletons, unlike the diet log passes grim scene. The tragedy struck on December 25, 1945, as a fire, per fire logs, consumed the house in 45 minutes, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The family's escape, per 1945 police statements, left 5 behind, unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. Searches, per 1945 to 1946 state patrols, found no trace, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The children, per 1945 Sauter pleas, sparked national news, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1945 Charleston Gazette reports, shook Fayetteville, unlike the Tamamshik case of solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing abduction, as the 1945 cut phone, per police logs, suggested intent, unlike the Crystal Skulls tales. A 1945 witness sighting, per Sauter files, noted children in a car, unlike the shroud stains. Others see arson, as 1945 fire reports blamed wiring, yet no circuit faults, per coroner notes, were found, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some proposed death in a fire, but 1945 ash sifts, per FBI logs, lack bones, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest runaways, yet the children's 1945 family bonds, per neighbors, were strong, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine vendetta, as 1945 Sauter disputes with locals, per police files, lingered, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms, only fire's shadow, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in heartbreak, as 1945 Life magazine reports grip readers, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The children's absence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 1946 FBI searches, per West Virginia logs, found no trace, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1940s awe, with Reader's Digest 1949 story calling it a fire's riddle. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a family's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in embers. The 1945 phone cut, per police photos, was deliberate, unlike the Longview Caves carvings. A 1945 car sighting, per SADA witnesses, sped away, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1946 bone fragment, per FBI tests, was not human, unlike the Crystal Skulls quartz. A 1950 photo claim, per SADA letters, showed a man resembling Lewis, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The ashes, per 1945 coroner reports, held no teeth, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no remains confirm their fate, like Bathurst's lost steps, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. The Sodders' love, unlike the Vinland map's map, tugs at hearts, while 1945 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Fayetteville tales from 1950 speak of children in the flames, but offer no hands, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but closure, like the wow. Signals note, the Sodder children's legacy is their family's hope. Unlike Bathurst's diplomatic vanish, they show siblings bound by love, their absence a spark of resilience. For investigators, it's a fire's puzzle. For dreamers, a call to remember, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of their loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to children lost of the night. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from the skies. With Flight 19, bombers vanish, their wings a riddle of sea and shadow. Flight 19, 5 Navy aircraft vanished in the Bermuda Triangle in 1945. Imagine a squadron of 5 Navy bombers soaring over the Atlantic, their engines roaring against the vast blue as pilots train under a clear sky, only for their voices to fade and their planes to vanish into the sea's embrace. On December 5, 1945, Flight 19, a group of 5 TBM Avenger aircraft disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle during a training mission from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, per 1945 U.S. Navy records. Led by Lieutenant Charles Taylor, the 14 crewmen were lost, with no wreckage confirmed, dated by 1945 radio logs. Unlike the Sodder children's tragic vanish amid flames, this is a mystery of sky and sea, a riddle etched in the waves. As we follow their imagined flight, we're drawn into a tale of duty, disorientation, and a triangle that guards its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 1945, with Flight 19's last radio contact at 6:20 p.m. per Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale transcripts, reporting navigational confusion. Departing at 2:10 p.m. per Navy logs, the squadron flew east for a bombing drill, but by 3:45 p.m., Taylor reported being lost, dated December 5, 1945, per radio records. A rescue aircraft sent to search, per 1945 Navy reports, also vanished, carrying 13 men. Searches, per 1945 to 1946 Coast Guard logs, scoured 380,000 square miles, finding no debris. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, these are missing wings. They're still silent, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's vast, each signal a fading note, like the Taos hum's unseen pulse. The America of 1945 was one of wartime grit. Unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia, Flight 19's crew, per Navy manifests, were seasoned trainees, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Their mission, per 1945 Fort Lauderdale logs, honed navigation, unlike the Flannan Isles stormy rocks. The pilots, bound by duty, faced the open sea, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Their aircraft, per 1945 Avenger specs, were robust, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a training flight. Its loss in naval sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is scarce. The 1945 radio calls, per Navy transcripts, noted Taylor's compass failure, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1945 ground report per Banana River logs heard Taylor say, "We're in the Keys, despite being north," unlike the Pyrie Reese maps parchment. No wreckage per 1945 Coast Guard searches surface in the Atlantic, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 1945 weather report per NOAA logs noted rough seas, unlike the Shroud's linen. The triangle per 1945 Navy charts was calm, unlike the Diet Law Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on December 5, 1945, as Taylor's 4 p.m. call, per radio logs, reported being off course, unlike the Bermuda's wrecks. By 6:20 p.m., per Navy records, all contact ceased, unlike the Longview Cave silence. The rescue aircraft, per 1945 Navy logs, exploded mid-air, per witness accounts, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Flight 19, per 1945 Fort Lauderdale inquiries, left no trace, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1945 Miami Herald reports, stunned aviation, unlike the Tamam Shud solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing navigation error, as 1945 compass issues, per Navy logs, led Taylor astray, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. The squadron, per radio reports, may have ditched in the Atlantic, unlike the Shroud stains. Other sea weather, as 1945 NOAA logs noted sudden squalls, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some proposed fuel exhaustion, per 1945 Avenger range data, after 6 hours, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest supernatural forces, as 1940 Triangle lore, per Argosy stories, claim mysterious losses, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine mechanical failure, yet numbered 1945 maintenance logs, per Navy, showed faults, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only the sea's vastness, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its scale, as 1946 Associated Press stories grip readers, per Library of Congress archives, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The squadron's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes like 1946 Navy dives, per Atlantic logs, found no fuselages, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1940s awe, with Life magazine's 1947 story calling it a sea's riddle. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a squadron's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in whispers. The 1945 radio call, per Navy logs, mentioned white water, unlike the Longview Cave's carvings. A 1945 sailor report, per Coast Guard logs, saw a flare, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1945 oil slick, per Navy searches, hinted at a crash, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. A 1945 weather shift, per NOAA logs, brought 30-knot winds, per Navy logs. The triangle, per 1945 Navy charts, had no wings, unlike the Shroud stains. The enigma persists, as no trace confirms their fate, like the Sodder children's absence, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Flight 19's duty, unlike the Vinland Maps map, Oz, while 1945 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Floridian tales from 1950 speak of bombers in the sea, but offer no steel, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger, The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth, but honor, like the WOW. Signals note. Flight 19's legacy is its skyward call. Unlike the Sodder's Tale of Fire, it shows pilots bound by duty, their flight a spark of valor, like the Egypt's silent tomb. For investigators, it's a naval puzzle. For dreamers, a dance of the sea, a testament to a squadron lost to the waves. Yet another enigma calls, its whispers rising from a lonely road. With Brandon, a student walks, his call a riddle of night and prairie. Brandon Swanson, American student who called for help, then walked into the night and was never seen again. Imagine a young man driving to the quiet prairies of Minnesota, his car veering off a rural road in the dead of night, only for his desperate call for help to end with a sudden cry, leaving him lost in the endless fields. Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old college student, vanished on May 14, 2008, near Marshall, Minnesota, after his car got stuck in a ditch, per 2008 Lyon County Sheriff reports. Speaking with his parents by phone as he walked toward lights, his call abruptly ended with an exclamation dated by 2008 cell records. Despite extensive searches, no trace of him was found. Unlike the Navy bombers of Flight 19, swallowed by the Bermuda Triangle's vast sea, this is a mystery of a lone soul lost on land, a riddle of starlight and silence. As we tread his imagined path, we're drawn into a tale of youth, peril, and a night that holds its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 2008, with Brandon's last call at 2:30 a.m. per Verizon cell logs as he spoke to his parents from a rural road. His car, a Chevy Lumina, was found in a ditch near Taunton, per 2008 sheriff reports, with no damage, dated May 14, 2008. His phone, per 2008 police records, went silent after he said, "Oh shit," and no further contact was made. Searches, per 2008 to 2009 Minnesota National Guard logs, covered 120 square miles, finding no body or belongings. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, this is an empty field, its grass unyielding, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's intimate, each step a whisper, like the Taos Hum's unseen pulse. The Minnesota 2008 was one of quiet rural life. Unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia, Brandon, a freshman at Minnesota West Community College, was bright, per 2008 family statements, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. His drive, per 2008 sheriff interviews, followed a party in Canby, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. Brandon, independent and kind, sought his way home, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. His car, per 2008 police photos, was stuck but intact, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a student's journey. It's lost a community sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is faint. The 2008 car, per sheriff logs, held his keys and wallet, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. His 2:30 a.m. call, per cell records, pinged a tower 20 miles from where he thought he was, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. No footprints, per 2008 search reports, marked the fields, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 2008 dog track, per sheriff notes, followed his scent to the Yellow Medicine River, but stopped, unlike the Shroud's linen. The prairie, per 2008 USGS maps, was vast, unlike the diet log Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on May 14, 2008, as Brandon's call, per family accounts, ended at 2:30 a.m., unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. His parents, per 2008 sheriff statements, drove to find him but saw no sign, unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. Searches, per 2008 National Guard logs, used dogs and planes, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Brandon, per 2008 news reports, left no trail, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 2008 Star Tribune stories, gripped Minnesota, unlike the Tamamshid case of Solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing misadventure as 2008 river currents, per USGS logs, could have swept him away, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. The 2008 dog scent, per sheriff reports, suggests he reached water, unlike the shroud stains. Others see foul play as 2008 rural roads, per police interviews, hosted drifters, yet no blood per car checks was found, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose disorientation, as 2008 night conditions per NOAA logs were dark, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest flight, but 2008 family accounts of his loyalty counter, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine injury, yet number 2008 search finds, per guard logs surfaced, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms, only the night's chill, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its intimacy, as 2008 Care 11 reports drew empathy, per Minnesota archives, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Brandon's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 2009 sheriff sweeps, per Lyon County logs, found no trace, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 2008 awe, with Pioneer Press's story calling him a lost son. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a youth's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in the fields. The 2008 cell ping per Verizon logs placed him near Porter, unlike the Longview Caves carvings. A 2008 farmer report, per sheriff files, noted a faint cry, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 2008 shoe print, per search logs, was inconclusive, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. A 2008 riverbank, per guard notes, showed no slide, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The prairie, per 2008 aerial photos, hid no form, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no trace confirms his fate, like Flight 19's lost wings, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Brandon's spirit, unlike the Vinland Maps map, tugs at hearts, while 2008 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Minnesota tales from 2010 speak of a boy in the grass, but offer no steps, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but closure, like the wow. Signals note, Brandon's legacy is his quiet courage. Unlike Flight 19's naval quest, he shows a student facing the dark, his walk a spark of hope. For investigators, it's a rural puzzle. For dreamers, a call to care, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of his loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a youth lost to the night. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from coastal sands. At Roanoke, a colony fades. It's where a riddle of wood and shadow. The lost colony of Roanoke, entire English settlement vanished, leaving only the word Croton behind. Imagine a fledgling settlement on a windswept island where English colonists build homes amid towering pines, their hopes pinned on a new world, only for their village to stand empty, marked by a single, cryptic word carved into wood. The lost colony of Roanoke, established in 1587 on what is now North Carolina's Outer Banks, vanished by 1590, leaving no trace of its 115 settlers, per 1590 English Crown records. Led by Governor John White, the group included men, women, and children whose only clue was Croton etched on a palisade dated by 1590 expedition logs. Unlike Brandon Swanson's solitary walk into Minnesota's night, this is a mystery of an entire community dissolved, a riddle of earth and sea. As we wander their imagined paths, we're drawn into a tale of ambition, survival, and a word that whispers secrets. The disappearance was documented in 1590, when White returned to Roanoke after a 3-year absence, per Hakluyt's Voyages accounts, finding the settlement deserted on August 18, 1590. The word Croton, per 1590 Crown reports, was carved on a post, and Sierra marked a nearby tree with no distress symbols. Homes, per 1590 expedition logs, were dismantled, suggesting an orderly departure, dated by 1590 with decay. No graves or remains, per 1590 to 1600 English searches, were found. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, these are silent clearings, their soil bare like the Rosetta Stone granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, they're subtle, each carving a whisper, like the Taos hum's unseen pulse. The Americas of 1587 were a frontier promise, unlike the 1947 War of the Black Dahlia. The Roanoke settlers, per 1587 Virginia Company records, sought a foothold, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Their colony, per 1587 White journals, faced scarce food, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. The settlers, families with dreams, included Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Their outpost, per 1587 maps, was fragile, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a communal venture. Its loss a colonial sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is sparse. The 1590 carvings, per Hakluyt sketches, were neat, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1590 fort, per expedition notes, stood empty, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. No weapons or bones, per 1590 crown logs, remained, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 1602 native tale, per Jamestown records, spoke of pale strangers inland, unlike the shroud's linen. The island, per 1590 Spanish charts, was storm-prone, unlike the Diet Law Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred between 1587 and 1590, as White's 1587 departure, per Virginia Company logs, left the colony alone, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. His 1590 return, per Hakluyt accounts, found no trace, unlike the Longview Cave chisels. Searches per 1602 Jamestown expeditions found no settlers, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The colony, per 1587 White plans, aimed to thrive, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1590 London letters, stunned England, unlike the Tamam Shikesa solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing integration, as 1590 Croton carvings, per Hakluyt logs, suggest a move to a nearby tribe, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Native tales, per 1610 Powhatan accounts, mentioned white-skinned people, unlike the shroud stains. Others see attack, as 1587 Spanish tensions, per Admiralty records, threatened colonies, yet no battle signs, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts remained. Some proposed starvation, but 1587 crops, per White journals, were planted, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest storms, as 1588 hurricanes, per Spanish logs, battered the coast, yet no wreckage, unlike the Vinland map's ink, surfaced. Others imagine flight inland, but number 1590 artifacts, per Jamestown digs, confirm, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only survival's shadow, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its enigma, as 1590 Hakluyt publications gripped readers, per British Library archives, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The colony's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 1607 Jamestown searches, per Virginia logs, found no trace, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Lines plane, drew 1600s awe, with Bacon's 1620 essays calling it a lost hope. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a settlement's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in the wood. The 1590 Sierra Inn, Prahakulut drawings, was deliberate, unlike the Longview Caves carvings. A 1602 native story, per Jamestown records, hinted at mixed descendants, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1587 ring, per 1700s Hatteras finds, bore English marks, unlike the Crystal Skulls quartz. A 1610 Powhatan tale, per Smith logs, spoke of strangers slain, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The island, per 1590 Spanish maps, hid no graves, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists, as no remains confirm their fate, like Brandon's lost steps, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Roanoke's dream, unlike the Vinland map's map, awes, while 1590 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone clarity, obscures truth. Coastal tales from 1600 speak of ghostly settlers, but offer no bones, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but legacy, like the wow. Signals note. Roanoke's legacy is its fragile hope. Unlike Brandon's solitary walk, it shows a community reaching for a new world, their absence a spark of wonder. For historians, it's a colonial puzzle. For dreamers, a saga of courage, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of their loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a colony lost to the wild. Yet other enigmas call, their whispers rising from a snowy road. With Maura Murray, a student vanishes, her crash a riddle of ice and shadow. Maura Murray, college student who disappeared after a car crash in 2004. Imagine a young woman driving alone through the snowy mountains of New Hampshire, her car spinning out on a quiet road, only for her to step into the winter night and vanish, leaving behind a trail of questions. Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, disappeared on February 9, 2004, after crash of her Saturn sedan on Route 112 near Haverhill, New Hampshire, per 2004 New Hampshire State Police reports. Last seen by a witness after the crash. She was gone before police arrived minutes later, dated by 2004 call logs. No trace of her has been found, despite extensive searches. Unlike the Roanoke colonists, whose card were hinted at their fate, this is a mystery of a solitary figure lost in the cold, a riddle of ice and shadow. As we linger on that imagined roadside, we're drawn into a tale of youth, mystery, and a night that keeps its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 2004, with Maura's crash reported at 7:27 p.m. per Haverhill police logs after she hit a snowbank. A bus driver, per 2004 witness statements, saw her at 7:30 p.m., appearing unharmed, and offered help, which she declined, claiming she called AAA. Police arrived by 7:46 p.m., per 2004 dispatch records, finding the car locked with no sign of Maura, dated February 9, 2004. Her belongings, per 2004 police reports, included a backpack and wine, but her phone and keys were missing. Searches per 2004 to 2005 Fish and Game logs covered 36 square miles, finding no tracks or body. Unlike the Mary Celeste deserted decks, this is an empty road, its snow unmarred like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's fleeting, each tire mark a whisper, like the Taos Hum's unseen pulse. The New Hampshire 2004 was one of rural calm, unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia. Maura, a former West Point cadet, was driven, per 2004 UMass records, unlike Taos's quiet artisans. Her trip, per 2004 family statements, followed personal struggles, unlike the Flannan Isles' stormy rocks. Mora, independent yet troubled, sought escape, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Her car, per 2004 police photos, was drivable, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a student's journey. Its loss of community sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is sparse. The 2004 car, per Haverhill logs, had a cracked windshield, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 2004 witness, per police statements, saw a figure walking east, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. No footprints, per 2004 search reports, marked the snow, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. A 2004 ATM withdrawal, per bank records, showed Mora took $280, unlike the shroud's linen. The woods, per 2004 USGS maps, were dense, unlike the Diet Law Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred on February 9, 2004, as Mora's 7:30 p.m. sighting, per witness logs, preceded her absence by 7:46 p.m., unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. Her refusal of help, per 2004 bus driver accounts, was calm, unlike the Lawn UK's chisels. Searches, per 2004 state police logs, used dogs and helicopters, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. Mora, per 2004 news reports, sparked national coverage, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 2004 Boston Globe stories, gripped New England, unlike the Tamam Shikesa solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing flight, as 2004 email records, per family statements, showed Mora planning a trip, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. Her packed dorm, per 2004 UMass logs, suggests intent, unlike the shroud stains. Others see foul play, as 2004 rural roads, per police interviews, hosted transients, yet no blood, per car checks, was found, unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some propose exposure, as 2004 NOAA logs noted 20 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest suicide, but 2004 family accounts of her resilience counter, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine abduction, yet number 2004 witness saw a struggle, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice confirms. Only the cold's embrace, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its intimacy, as 2004 CNN reports drew empathy, per media archives, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. Mora's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes, like 2005 FBI searches, per Haverhill logs, found no trace, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 2004 awe, with People's Story calling her a winter's ghost. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a woman's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isles light. Clues linger in the snow. The 2004 wine bottle, per police photos, was unopened, unlike the Lawn UK's carvings. A 2004 rag in the tailpipe, per Haverhill logs, puzzled investigators, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 2004 sighting, per local reports, noted a woman miles away, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. A 2004 phone call, per family records, was made to a condo rental, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The road, per 2004 aerial photos, hid no form, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists, as no trace confirms her fate, like Roanoke's lost souls, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. Mora's spirit, unlike the Vinland Maps map, tugs at hearts, while 2004 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. New Hampshire tales from 2005 speak of a girl in the woods, but offer no steps, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but answers, like the wow. Signal's note. Mora's legacy is her quiet resolve. Unlike Roanoke's collective dream, she shows a woman facing the unknown, her journey a spark of courage. For investigators, it's a chilling puzzle. For dreamers, a call to hope, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of her loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to a student lost to the night. As we close this series, from Earhart skies to Murray's snowy road, these mysteries weave a tapestry of human spirit. Each unanswered whisper a reminder of the world's quiet enigmas, forever calling us to listen. The Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers. 3 men vanished from a remote Scottish lighthouse in 1900. Imagine a solitary lighthouse perched on a jagged cliff, its beam cutting to the stormy Atlantic night. Tended by 3 keepers whose duty binds them to sea, only for their station to fall silent, their presence erased without a trace. In December 1900, 3 lighthouse keepers, James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, vanished from the Flannan Isles, a remote archipelago 20 miles west of Scotland's Outer Hebrides, per 1900 Northern Lighthouse Board records. Discovered missing when a relief ship arrived, their absence left an eerie scene of untouched meals and stopped clocks, dated by 1900 log entries. Unlike Moore Murray's fleeting vanish on a snowy New Hampshire road, this is a mystery of men lost to a windswept isle, a riddle of waves and stone. As we climb the imagined steps of their tower, we're drawn into a tale of duty, isolation, and a light that hides its secrets. The disappearance was documented in 1900, with the relief ship Hesperus arriving on December 26 per lighthouse board logs, finding the lighthouse empty. The last log entry, per 1900 keeper records, was dated December 15, 1900, noting heavy storms. A table, per 1900 relief reports, held a half-eaten meal and the clock was stopped, dated by 1900 rust. No signs of struggle. Per 1900 board inspections marred the station, though 1 oilskin coat remained, suggesting a keeper ventured out. Searches, per 1900 and 1901 Royal Navy logs, scour the Isles, finding no bodies. Unlike the Mary Celeste's deserted decks, this is a silent tower, its lamps cold, like the Rosetta Stone's granite. Unlike the Nazca Line's sprawling art, it's confined, each step a whisper, like the Towshum's unseen pulse. The Scotland of 1900 was one of maritime tradition. Unlike the 1947 war of the Black Dahlia, the keepers, per lighthouse board records, were seasoned, unlike Towsa's quiet artisans. Their post, per 1900 Flannan charts, battled fierce gales, unlike the calm of Brandon Swanson's prairie. The men, bound by duty, maintained the light, unlike the ancestral Puebloans' migrations. Their station, per 1900 board plans, was newly built, unlike Tikal's dynasties. Unlike Tut's tomb, sealed for kings, this was a working outpost. Its loss a maritime sigh, like the D.B. Cooper's leap. The evidence is haunting. The 1900 log, per board archives, noted storm ended, sea calm, on December 15th, unlike Roman dodecahedron's bronze. A 1900 chair, per relief reports, was overturned, unlike the Pyrie Reese map's parchment. The missing oilskin, per 1900 inspection notes, suggested haste, unlike the Codex Gigas' vellum. No blood, per 1900 board logs, marked the floors, unlike the shroud's linen. The cliffs, per 1900 Navy sketches, dropped 150 feet, unlike the Diet Log Pass's grim scene. The vanishing occurred between December 15th and 26th, 1900, as the log's end, per board records, preceded the Hesperus' arrival, unlike the Bermuda Triangle's wrecks. The keeper's absence, per 1900 relief accounts, was noticed by 10 a.m., unlike the Longview Cave's chisels. Searches, per per 1900 Navy patrols, found no trace, unlike the Kailasa Temple's reliefs. The men, per 1900 bore rosters, left no note, unlike the Copper Scrolls medal. The event, per 1900 Scotsman reports, baffled mariners, unlike the Tamam Shikase's solitude. The mystery sparks theories, with many citing a rogue wave, as 1900 Atlantic storms permit office logs reach 100 feet, unlike the Crystal Skull's tales. The keepers, per board routines, may have been swept off cliffs, unlike the shroud stains. Others see madness as 1900 isolation, per lighthouse journals, strained minds, yet no violence, per inspection logs, appeared unlike the Rosetta Stone's texts. Some proposed flight, but 1900 boat checks, per Navy records, showed none missing, unlike the Oak Island's coins. A few suggest piracy, yet number 1900 valuables, per board lists, were taken, unlike the Vinland Maps Inc. Others imagine supernatural forces, as 1900 Hebridean folklore spoke of sea spirits, unlike the Mary Celeste ropes. Unlike Tut's curse, no malice fits, only the ocean's fury, like the wow, signals mystery. The mystery's endurance lies in its darkness, as 1900 Times reports grip readers, per British Library archives, unlike Mahabalipuram's tides. The keeper's silence, unlike the Maya's glyphs, offers no path, like Rongo Rongo's chants. Probes like 1901 Navy sweeps, per Flannan logs, found no bones, unlike the Iron Pillar script. The tale, unlike the Nazca Line's plane, drew 1900's awe, with Strand's 1901 story calling it a light's riddle. Unlike the Black Dahlia's tragedy, this is a trio's quiet fade, like the Flannan Isle's own light. Clues linger in the stone. The 1900 meal, per relief photos, sat untouched, unlike the Lawn UK's carvings. A 1900 rope, per board notes, was frayed on the cliff, unlike the Rosetta Stone scripts. A 1900 local tale, per Hebridean records, spoke of voices in the storm, unlike the Crystal Skull's quartz. A 1900 clock, per inspection logs, stopped at midnight, unlike the Copper Scrolls caves. The Isles, per 1900 Navy maps, hid no graves, unlike the shroud stains. The enigma persists as no trace confirms their fate, like Mora's snowy vanish, unlike the Mississippian's mounds. The keeper's duty, unlike the Vinland Maps map, awes, while 1900 silence, unlike the Rosetta Stone's clarity, obscures truth. Hebridean tales from 1910 speak of lights that failed, but offer no hands, only wonder, like Adelaide's stranger. The mystery, unlike the money pit's greed, seeks not wealth but honor, like the wow. Signals note. The Flannan Isles' legacy is their steadfast watch. Unlike Mora's solitary flight, they show men bound to the sea, their absence a spark of resilience. For historians, it's a maritime puzzle. For dreamers, a vigil in the dark, like Egypt's silent tomb. The enigma of their loss, like the Rosetta Stone scripts, holds us gently, a testament to keepers lost to the storm. As their light fades, other shadows beckon, each mystery a thread in the tapestry of the unknown, calling us to listen beneath the stars.